I hope you're good. All right, we're going live. Love music and love life. You're listening to Smooth 98.1, the station, again, that loves music and loves life, but we also love you and your health. That's why we have these discussions every Saturday from 8 till 8:30. We call it Soul Food, and we discuss every and anything that revolves around you. So today we're talking about your kidneys. I remember one time, that was last month, I believe, we talked about something related to your kidneys with Dr. Shino Ajidan. But this time we're talking about the nutrition, especially when there is something wrong with the kidneys. But before you get to that point, there are some things you can do. You even need to understand the function of your kidneys. So if you did not catch that conversation, then we will help you revisit what the kidneys are for and how you can keep it in tip-top shape. And I do have a nutritionist or a dietitian joining me this morning via Zoom. If you're not in Nigeria, if you're not in Lagos, well, right now you cannot listen fully. What you can do is go to our YouTube page and save the stream, or you can share it with your family and friends. So the YouTube stream is at Smooth 981 FM Lagos. That's our handle. We think you should subscribe to that channel so that you can always see our notification whenever we go live. That's the channel at Smooth 981 FM Lagos on YouTube. And then if you have any question in the course of the conversation, you can always drop it on using the live chat option, or you can come to our WhatsApp status. All right, then. So that said, we're talking about nutrition and kidney disease with dietitian Chibundom Uba. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Sean. Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you for joining me this early. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you too.
All right, so let's get straight to it. The two organs that look like bins in your body, the kidneys, what do they do? Let's talk about their functions and how to keep them in great shape.
So like you said, the kidneys are like two bean-shaped organs. They're, yes, like the size of your fist in your body. So basically what the kidney does is to filter waste products out of your body. Can you hear me?
Yes, clearly I can.
Okay. So basically what it does is that it's to eliminate waste. So, of course, for it to be able to eliminate this waste, it has to filter them first from your blood, from your body, across what it is that you're eating, or the nutrients that you have through the food, and then takes out the waste that it doesn't need. Okay, so it also helps to stabilize the blood and regulate your body pressure, in the sense that the kidney helps to maybe retain or to remove urine when and where necessary. Do you understand?
Mm-hmm. All right,
Can
then.
you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you clearly. So the kidneys help you to filter and also to clean your body.
Exactly. So where it doesn't do, where it doesn't perform this function optimally, then there's a problem. Because that is when we're looking at renal phlegm or renal failure or renal injury. So for this is its function. Elimination basically is its function. So whatever it is that you go in, goes, the kidney helps to filter everything and eliminate out of it that which it doesn't want.
All right, thank you.
No need of.
Now, I always ask this question. I would like to get your thought as well. So since the kidney already on its own filter out all the waste product of metabolism and any other thing that shouldn't be in your body, do you think the kidneys require some sort of detoxification or cleansing?
Okay, so basically it's work. So it doesn't need the extra. It doesn't exactly need the extra, because whatever it is that so basically the kidney needs some nutrients, or there are some, when they say, okay, and I know where this question coming from, having people blend stuff and drink,
or even sell products.
Yeah, so that is not a right thing to do. That is not a right knowledge to sell. The actual thing is that the kidney already does this. So all you just need to do is give it the water, give it the necessary things that it needs for vital function, and You don't need all the extras because already it's so that you don't get to overbody kidneys. Because the actual truth is that many persons already have a pre-existing health condition that they themselves are not aware of. And then having to blend everything. And most times, if you notice, the leaves or the things that are blended are things that actually should be passed through fire. Okay, so let me take, for example, having to blend some leafy vegetables. They should be cooked. There are some vegetables that should be cooked. So in a case where you get to blend it and that is not a right approach to caring for your kidneys.
Wait, what do you mean some vegetables should be cooked?
So of course you don't just having to get something like some people take this bitter leaf water, right?
Yes.
Bitter leaf
Yes,
water,
a
and
very
then they
bitter
just take
one.
it that way, and then yes, and then they just take it, and some will tell you that it beats down the BP. Do you get? So those things are not healthy because already those the water itself, the leaf itself needs to go through the process of washing, then cooking. Do you understand? So that your body is able to get the necessary nutrients that it needs without having to over labor itself. Do you understand? Or in a case where you just get these and these and these and blend and then you drink. So all those things. So there's something called, so that is a bit off. There's something called nutrient interaction. So in the case where you're blending and blending and blending, you're mixing everything that even you are not even aware of and taking into the body. So that on its own gives the kidneys more work to do than it should already do or than it's already doing.
Interesting. Because a bitter leaf water is a staple in terms of how it is used in
Yeah.
Nigeria. In fact, for
Yes.
those who have got diabetes, you know that is something they easily go
Yes.
to and say it will help me regulate. I think there is that notion that once something is bitter, it is the opposite of
Exactly.
anything sugary.
Yes. Bitter is healthy. Yes. Yeah. So
Interesting.
it's a notion that we have in Nigeria. Yeah.
Hmm. All right, that
So
said, you mentioned some things about caring for your kidneys that you should just give it the
yes.
necessary things. There is water, which everybody knows. In fact, during this
Yes.
it's period or this I don't know how to this hot this period of global boiling,
Exactly.
we all need to take water. But besides that,
Exactly.
what are some of the things you need to do to care for your kidneys and nourish it?
Okay. So basically, like I said earlier, everything that you eat is passed through the kidney. Of course, it goes into the blood, the kidney filters it and does it work. So, but in a case where somebody has renal problem or renal failure, normally you should eat your normal food, take your water, eat foods that are high in potassium, such as your tomatoes, your avocados, your yam, your potatoes, for of course healthy kidneys, but or people without kidney problem. So, but in a case where we're looking at kidney problems now, there could be one or two restrictions as to these nutrients so that you don't overburden your kidney.
Mm. All right. Now, I was going
Yes.
to ask you for some of those symptoms that you tend to see in a person whose kidney is not functioning at the optimum level.
Okay. So at first, some persons might not experience some um, problems at first, while some notice it because some problems related to kidney have there is a there are already pre-existing conditions. So for others, they might experience continuous elevated blood pressure levels. For some, they could experience weakness, dizziness, regular headaches. Do you understand? Then for others, like I said, they might not experience. But then it's always worthy of note to know that while some might not experience others, so they tend to actually have this problem. They tend to be aware of this problem during lab tests, during of course when their lab result is out, or maybe something taken to the hospital. So okay, do this necessary lab work. So that is when they find out that oh, I have this condition. So, but some others just experience it. Some like I said, malaise, dizziness, weakness, general loss of body weight, swelling, edema. Yeah, that's what it's called, edema. So just it depends on how it is. So, but it's not necessarily a one size fits all, but different symptoms for different persons. Yeah.
So, in other words, when you notice some of those symptoms like the edema, the swelling, I believe, of the feet, for
Exactly.
instance, you should go
Yes.
to the hospital for a proper checkup.
Exactly. Yes. And I know that many persons have problems with doing some tests when they're told to do tests because they believe it's a way to sap out their money. But those things actually tell you what it is that is going on in your body and what is not. So if there is at all any need for a test, maybe something takes a person to the hospital and some tests are written out, I think it's necessary to do tests, then it enables the person know if there is or there is not, whatever it is that is wrong with the body.
There's this thing I'm curious about. When a person sits for too long, chances are that their feet might retain water and it becomes a little swollen. Is it normal in everyone, or once you see that your feet are swollen after sitting for a long time, or maybe a relatively short period of time, then something is wrong with your kidneys?
So not exactly the kidneys this time, but of course they were looking at fluid retention now. So many persons have this swelling on the feet when they sit, and so there are ways to check it. In the medical profession, we could go press it in, like we press it. So if it's pits in, then that's pitting edema. So which is a case of on a scale of 1 to 10 malnutrition. So that is something else. So, but in this case, we hope that it resolves. Many persons say that when they keep their leg straight up or on an elevated surface, then the fluid tends to go down. So, but the thing is, maybe at that time, we could watch what it is like the person has eaten or eats, because sometimes it's a sign of excess sodium in the body, so which is something you could call it hypertension or traces of it. So in this case now there is an imbalance in the fluid and sodium in the body. So it's necessary at times to take stock of what it is that you've eaten and what it is that you have not. That would enable you actually know what really is the problem. While some would say it's normal for them, I would advise to actually seek help where if you notice any other sign or any other symptom.
I'm glad that you touched on sodium from salt so that we can as well get
Yes,
into those nutrients that a person with diseased kidney can be mindful of when they're consuming. So
exactly.
sodium,
Yes.
let's talk about it, especially the food sources. Now, it's easy to say, oh, I don't eat salt, but then sodium is present in other foods that you consume, especially those processed foods.
Yes. Yes. Um, in the case of sodium, sodium is a very tricky thing. I remember one time when I was asking persons how many spoons of salt do you think you should consume in a day, and some don't know, some knew, some of course people in my profession, of course they know. And people, some just said I don't know. So, but you find out that beyond the salt that you take home, there are many processed foods that are high in sodium, such as your pizza, your snacking. So there's one thing that we do when our patients, when we take their history, that we take a history of what it is that they usually consume. So that would enable you know what it is to actually tackle. So you find out that there is always high consumption of high sodium food, like your snacks, your egg roll, your buns. So now, while those things, even your fizzy drinks, while those things are common and people just, oh, is it not just egg roll, boom, and then it goes into the mouth. Those things have effect in the sense that your sodium levels are altered beyond the level that it should be. So there is, in that case, when people have foods that are high in sodium, they tend to experience bloating, swelling. They tend to feel very tasty. I remember when um, there was, yes, was in noodles. So I noticed that I was experiencing extreme high taste. That was the one of the reasons that I had to like put a stop on it, because at first I didn't pay attention to it until, of course, when because of this is something that I do now. So I started paying more attention, and I noticed, yes, it tends to make me thirsty. Do you understand? So you tend to take in more water than you normally or usually should take. So those things actually, those are some of the signs and the symptoms that you notice regarding sodium, which is something critical when it comes to renal disease.
Mm. Wow, thank you. So
Yes.
you need to be more mindful. Also, when you're buying your foods, you should check the food label. It's one thing I always advocate for.
Yes.
Food label,
Yes.
especially.
Packaged food, yes.
You was going to say add something?
Yeah, so especially like, people cook fried rice and then they have this thing, the sweet corn, so those things are really, really high in sodium. So those are one of the things that you should actually look out for in when you want to cook or when you want to buy your own product. Look out for food labels and know that which is actually appropriate for you, or low in sodium rather, so that it will help your purchasing.
It's quite interesting that a person might have consumed the entire sodium and even more that it should consume in a day in all those packaging and preservation as well. Because I imagine somebody eating, let's say, locust, because you use a lot of salt in preserving locust, or maybe dried fish or
Yeah,
stockfish, and there was a lot of sodium
yeah,
that is used in that. So by the time you consume and you say, no, it's just little salt I put in my food, trust me, you consume all
yeah,
the salt, all the sodium that you need.
exactly.
Oh, it's quite tricky. But then is aside, I mean, for someone who actually has a renal failure, they have to be very, very conscious of all of those things. So there's a possible way around it.
Yes. When it comes to renal failure, especially in the chronic kidney conditions, the treatment is, of course, dependent on each stage, from the first stage to the final stage where the person tends to be on dialysis or needs to be on dialysis. The management is dependent on every phase. So while at first, maybe first and second stages, you might not be so mindful of the
Okay.
management, yes. So, but the major aim is such that there is no more progression or that there is a reduced progression to the final stage.
Mm. Oh no. Are you there? Ooh, network. All right, then if you're listening to us for the first time,
Yes, because when you don't manage it
you were
well from
out
the
for a
first and the
minute.
second stage, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. You were out for a minute. Are you back? I think you're muted. Hello? Can you hear me? If you can hear me, just let me know. All right, then. So you can go ahead. You were talking about the aim is to stop the progression to the other stages of renal failure. The network is not so great. You're listening to Soul Food on Smooth 98.1, and we have been talking about nutrition in kidney diseases. If you're joining us for the first time, there are some things we have discussed. For instance, the functions of the kidney. We mentioned that you really need to pay attention to your kidneys, but the kidneys are already there to filter and to help you keep the balance in your body. You don't need to overburden it by trying to detoxify or to cleanse it. There is such a thing called nutrient interaction. There is nutrient drug interaction as well. So you need to be mindful when you are eating or just taking something that you consider natural, because it might be overburdening your kidneys, who that is already saddled with the responsibility of keeping the balance in there. We're also talking about some of the needs, nutritional needs, and what need to be mindful of as someone who is battling with a kidney that is not in the best shape. We've talked about sodium that comes from your salt, and we said that it causes water retention. So you might want to be careful of the amount of sodium you take. Now, finally, on sodium, I don't know if you're aware of the whole craze about sea salt, right? Where they say sea salt, that a salt is, or a brand is sea salt, so you can take it in normal quantity, and you who has a not very perfect kidneys you shouldn't worry about it. What do you say to that?
Can you hear me?
Yes, clearly I can.
The sea salt. Okay, so salt is still
Salt.
sea salt. So you all that matters is that you be careful. All that matters is that you should be careful. Take it in the right quantity. So your normal salt shouldn't be more than 1 teaspoon in a day. And I didn't say
Wait, hold
tables.
on. Your
Mm-hmm.
normal salt.
Yes, salt. Yes, total in a day. Yes. Like this, did you get shot?
Tablespoon
Yes,
or
in a day.
teaspoon or dessert spoon?
Yes, yes, teaspoon. So that's equivalent to 2,300 milligrams. Mm?
Well,
Yeah.
some of us just stop putting salt in our food until we are okay with it. Until the ancestors whisper in our ears to stop.
Exactly. So that is it. It's at first when I heard it, I was like, no, this is not possible. I was asking, so how do we do it? Is this going to be in just one person's food? So, but the issue is that that is what it is that your body needs for the day. So, but do not consider in a case where you tend to order your meal, you're ordering from A, you're ordering from B, you're ordering from C in a day. I'm not even talking of the drinks that you use to step it down. Do you understand? Yeah, so do you understand? So those things are really, really high in sodium. Imagine where somebody, okay, let me use our popular um, um, noodles, for example. Noodles is,
Okay.
yeah,
I
yeah,
thought you
that's
wanted to mention the brand name. I was about to come for you.
no, the noodles. So that is over 500 milligram of sodium for one small sachet. Then we're looking at two of it. So of course, two is enough for somebody like me. Somebody you get. So we're looking at that is 1,000 already. Then now imagine having plantain where you're frying plantain and you're sprinkling the salt on the
No.
plantain. Did you get? And then you have so that's it. So by the time you know it, and this is just a one meal. Before you know, you're having, of course, you have to eat lunch, and of course, you have to eat dinner, then the in between. So before you know it, in that day, you're almost getting to 3,000 milligrams for that day. And that is much for the kidneys. Yes, yes, that is for the kidneys in that day.
So just to clarify on the noodles thing, so is it the noodles, is it the salt or the sodium rather that comes with the noodles itself or the one in the seasoning? Because if you say it's the one in the seasoning, then somebody can go, well, that means I don't need to add the seasoning. I can add other kinds of seasoning. So is it the one that comes with the processed food already or it's seasoning?
I would say is the first food, it's the package. Because when you have them, there is exception to this difference, the same is different, the food itself is different. So it's a total package where you just need so and so milligram of sodium. Have you noted?
Okay. All right then. All right. Moving on quickly to another nutrient that a person who has a diseased kidney needs to be mindful of, potassium, and you find it in banana and some
Yes.
melons.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, so let's establish this fact first. When it comes to CKD or chronic kidney disease, there are some major causes of disease, underlying conditions, like we would call it. So we could be looking at diabetes, looking at hypertension. Yes, so when they are managed in that stage, progress to kidney problems. Yes, so they begin to full stress, they begin to stress kidneys, and the amount for 60 to 70% of kidney problems. So it doesn't just start as skin problems. So there are times where this and this triggers it or causes it. So first and foremost, the line controlled or
Your audio is not very great. Yes, I can hear you now. The
okay.
audio was coming in and out. It was not very clear.
So,
yeah, it is. Okay, so let's try something. You can turn off your video. Let's see if it will make you better.
okay.
All right, so can you try saying something now? No, just turn off your video and let's see.
Okay, so can you hear me now?
Clearly, yes.
Oh, all right. Okay, sorry about that earlier.
It's okay. You were talking about the potassium and what happens when the person's kidney is not functioning well and the potassium strain.
Yes. Yes. So in a case where, let me use for example now, high hypertension, there is this thing called a DASH diet, this kind of diet called a DASH diet. That's dietary approach to stopping hypertension. Yes. So in a case where, so normally DASH diet has to do with reducing sodium foods and increasing foods that are high in potassium. But then you will also find out that if you use this approach for somebody with a kidney condition, you might, on a scale of 1 to 10, overlabor the kidney. Now, because in kidney problems, the potassium isn't properly excreted from the kidneys. Like the kidneys doesn't properly excrete potassium as it should with a normal functioning kidney. Yes. So if you do it that way, okay, so we're going to reduce your sodium foods, you're going to increase your potassium foods. You find out that at a time there will be more potassium in the body that the kidney is not excreting. So firstly, when you're managing CKD or especially kidney diseases, it's paramount to do that hand in hand with your dietitian. So there isn't no one size fits all when it comes to chronic disease management, chronic kidney disease management. So first and foremost, ensure that while you're working with your doctor, you're also working hand in hand with your dietitian. Now, this would also enable you in a sense that when there is a need for a restriction, because of course, while you're on this management or while you're being managed, there is need for blood work, various biochemical indices that will be needed. So while you present the results to your dietitian, she's able to tell you, so we're going to work on this, we're going to work on that. And so at the end of it, the aim is that you have optimal nutritional status. When there is a need to reduce, she tells you to reduce. When there is a need to take up, she tells you to, or he or she tells you to take up. So that is the way chronic kidney disease is generally managed. So, but while there are nutrients of importance to consider, but there is no, I wouldn't tell you increase this or don't eat it at this level. No, you work hand in hand with your dietitian. It's not the general, oh, increase your fiber intake. No, this is a bit tricky and a bit dicey when it comes to your renal health. Yes.
Thank you. Well, on that note, let's just say you have pretty much summed it up with your last advice, because again, there are a number of nutrients like phosphorus still that you find in other food sources, but it would not be wise to just say stop eating this and that. You need to have that personalized care, and that can only be done when you have the advice as well as due consultation with the dietitian and the nutritionist, which more people need to recognize their importance, because the doctor, the general practitioner who you know as a doctor, will not solve everything. That's why we have specialists. So more people need to pay attention to the services of the dietitian as well as the nutritionist. And thank you.
Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure. Are you active on social media?
Yes, I am. Yes.
What's your handle?
On Twitter, the _dietitian.
Okay. And then Instagram, are you active on Instagram?
Yes, I am. Yes, but that's my name. In the underscore Bundom, Bundom.
All right, then. Thank you, dietitian Chibundom Uba, for being my guest this morning. It's a pleasure to have you.
And you too.
All right.
Thanks.
For anyone who's just joining us, don't worry. We'll save the stream for you on YouTube. It is youtube.com/smooth981 FM Lagos. And we will also upload the link to the YouTube stream on our WhatsApp status if you are a part of a WhatsApp family, so that you can go back there and watch it. And you just click on the link rather to listen and to watch and share with your family and friends so that you're further educated and you get yourself to that position where, well, you prevent it pretty much. And if you're already in that condition, at least you help yourself so that it does not get worse. Next week, we'll return with another topic to educate you on your wellness as well as your health. My name is Oluwaseun, and soon enough, in about 7 minutes, it will be the time for the children's show called Curious Minds from 8:40 till 9:10. So if they're between the ages of 6 to 15, I'd say you tell them to start, well, dialing now in case the network is trying to be funny so that it can get in time. Thank you. See you soon.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.